Hey, what up YouTube? Sugar Ray with another fascinating television repair video. Got a no surprise here. If you've been following any of my other videos, we got a Samsung. Yes, once again. This model LN40, which meaning 40-inch A330. Now it doesn't matter if this is a 40-inch or 50-inch. All these models with this black piano bezel around it. It's kind of look like the same bezel you'll see on a black piano. They were affected, anything 32-inch to 50-inch, and basically here's the trouble. After about a year, which is shortly after Samsung's warranty expires, you've got a standby light on. You go to turn it on, and nothing happens. Use your remote control, nothing happens. So you know it's got power, it's got a standby light, but it is a power supply issue. I'm willing to guarantee that. Educated guess, and I'm only saying this because this is about the 5th Samsung that has come through my basement that I've seen in this condition. So what I'm betting you has happened here is you got a blown capacitor or 2 or 3 on the power supply board, and the reason for that is simple. Samsung put some underrated capacitors on these boards, and it's a very common problem. And what sucks about it is about a year after the warranty expires, like shortly, you got 1-year warranty on these TVs. A month after the warranty expires, all of a sudden this happens, and you go to Samsung, they're like, yeah, we can fix it for, $500 to send a tech out and send you a new board. And well, now we're in the range of getting a new TV at that price. Like, really? It is so ridiculous. I'm not a fan of Samsung. Don't get me wrong. They make some beautiful displays when they're working. So I'm going to take off the back cover and we'll see what we can find in there. But without looking at it so far, I'm betting you it's the power supply board. Okay, after removing several screws, this is what we got. Back panel is off, and the only board that I want to focus on is this brown board right in front of us, the power supply board. And I can already see back here, it might even be tough to see on camera here, that these capacitors have bulged out. And as we zoom in a little closer, hopefully you can see that the tops of these capacitors have completely bulged out. So these underrated capacitors, as usual with Samsung, have crapped out. Now this just drives me, because for $12 or less, you can replace these and you got a good TV for many more years. But a lot of people will give up. They'll turn their TV on, oh well, it's broken, so we're going to not bother fixing them. We're just going to go buy a new TV, and that just drives me nuts. But unfortunately we live in a throwaway world, so what we have to do is hop online, order a kit for this power supply board, and we got to replace these capacitors. And once we do, I'm willing to bet you this TV will fire up, and you'll see how simple and how cheap fixing one of these can be. So I've been able to locate a capacitor kit. Remember, eBay is your friend in this situation. So for $12.99 free shipping, there's an entire kit that will replace the all the capacitors on the power supply board, which is what we got to do here. Now $12 for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 capacitors. My math's not off there. 8 it is. Yeah, $12.99 for 8 capacitors. Can you find them cheaper? Probably, absolutely yes. But the benefit of paying, the full $12.99 for 8 capacitors is they've already done the legwork for you. You're not digging through piles in the stores, needing 2 of these, 1 of those, etc. So pay the $13, get the kit. The kit's made for this, and just reading the description, they are Panasonic capacitors, which are of higher quality of the stock capacitors that Samsung put in these displays. So we're going to order these, and we'll fast forward in time when they get here. Wow, that was the fastest shipping ever. Package is arrived and in good order. There's your capacitor kit, and they usually, and they did, send instructions. Now obviously your next step is to unplug all these cables from the power supply board, and there's about 4 or 5 screws that are holding this into the panel. So we're going to extract this board. Okay, so we've undone all the screws, the power supply board, and we've unplugged all the cables on the power supply board. Simply just gently extract the board from the panel. Okay, so with new capacitors in place, let's put this back into the panel and see if we got something. Now, normally what I'll do is when I'm diagnosing a television, I'll figure out what board went bad and then just replace the board. It's so much easier and quicker than replacing components. But in a situation like this, given that we've known the history with Samsung power supply boards and known the history with this make and model specifically, swapping out these capacitors is not a big deal, and will in all likelihood fix this problem. Alright, so we reinstalled and recapped the power supply board, and it's back in its home, so I guess it's showtime. See if this thing goes. And there's your standby light, just like we had before. Now I should note that this TV just gradually got worse. The symptoms were basically, it was getting harder and harder to turn on. Sometimes you turn it on, sometimes it come on, sometimes it wouldn't. I got to the point it'd take 10 minutes to turn on, and that regressed to it just wouldn't come on at all. So using the remote control, got a blinking light. Oh, that's a good sign. And there we go. We look like we are back in business. So there you have it, $12.99. This shit sung. Should I say that? I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Samsung. This Samsung was headed for the dump, and $12.99 new capacitors on the power supply board, which obviously we're in dire need of servicing, and we're going to get some more use out of this TV. So, Len, this was your set. Hopefully you're a happy camper. You're going to be back to watching high-definition football in no time. Alright, talk to you next video, guys. Ciao!